And I always say, people always say, John, I don't know what that is. And I said, I guarantee you do. I said, you ever walked and stopped to smell the roses? I said, yeah. And I said, that's a terpene. Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is John Malanca with United Patients Group. Be informed and be well. Today's guest is another podcast host, and I always like supporting other people that are doing this as well. Derek Espinoza. How are you doing, Derek?
Wonderful. How about yourself, John?
Doing well. Thank you. So you're down in Arizona. Your podcast, let me hit the screen here. Your podcast is called Know Your Dose, knowyourdosepodcast.com. You cover some great topics, and you're affiliated with Bake Brothers, which is a product company down there in Arizona as well, correct?
Yes, we are a medical marijuana edibles manufacturer down here in Phoenix.
Uh-huh.
We started here in Arizona, and this is our home.
Gotcha. So you've done quite a few podcasts too, and I like them because they're about 15 minutes to a half hour. I think are a couple of those. Just get in and get out. Mine are usually about an hour and 15. And so some people are, if they have a long drive, they listen. So I'm going to try something new today. We're going to just get in and get out type of thing and share what you're doing and support other cannabis experts in this field and their show as well. And so this last one I enjoyed. We talk about terpenes all this, and actually I have a guest on coming on our show this next week speaking on terpenes. And a lot of people, like you mentioned, you guys, and Nadim, right? Is your
correct? He's my co-host,
partner as well. And you guys spoke about terpenes with limonene, and then so you're going to be hitting all the different terpenes in upcoming shows, right?
Correct. So we're going to do the 5 major terpenes. So we're going to cover limonene, linalool, myrcene, beta-caryophyllene, and pinene.
And it comes up, and I always say, people always say, John, I don't know what that is. And I said, I guarantee you do. I said, you ever walked and stopped to smell the roses? I said, yeah. And I said, that's a terpene. I think was it you or Nadim that spoke about walking into a room full of puppies?
Oh yes, that was Nadim. Yes, the joy of walking into a grow and being hit with all the terpenes.
All the terpenes, and what that brings. And so, I've worked with a lot of doctors, a lot of growers as well, and they talk about stopping patients and saying, there's so many different scents, but they stop and say, go see which one triggers your system. And people will smell, and even with family members, if they're working with their children, and they'll say, smell it and see which one really reacts to that patient, to that child. And they said, let's go with that. And a lot of times that's the one to choose. And I don't know, why is that? Just scent in one of our senses that brings you to that?
So we like to say the nose knows, and that's a nice.
I had a T-shirt in high school. Excuse me, there. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Derek, but I had a T-shirt in high school. It was I was in Hawaii one time. This is you probably weren't even born, but it was a dog drug sniffing campaign to sniff out the pakalolo, and it was the nose knows, and it was they had a dog sniffing passengers with their baggage as well as the cannabis plant.
Oh, that's tremendous.
Anyway, but times have changed. Anyway, go on.
So the way I like to think about it is our sense of smell, our olfactory, system is deeply rooted in the brain, and oftentimes it knows things and can signal things to the brain much faster than our conscious awareness can actually hold on to. When you smell spoiled milk, for example, right? That's a way for your body to trigger, hey, you don't need to test this. We already know this is bad. It also, another interesting thing is mating a lot of the times is often people select by smell. And that's why a lot of times we love the way someone smells. So this ability for our body to know through smell whether something's a good match for us is something that, is deeply rooted in our physiology. And so it maps onto cannabis as well. When you're going through and you're selecting flower and you smell one and it just seems to resonate, I like to say it puts your brain on fire. 9 times out of 10, that's typically the strain that works best for that patient.
I am a big scent person as well, and person to person. That's something that I've always I guess picked my mates by
It's
scent.
it's huge. There was actually some studies done a while back where they took t-shirts, white t-shirts, and they had a couple male individuals wear them for a week with no scent,
Yeah.
and then they put them in bags and they had women rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 on attractiveness. And what they found was the better the genetic match between the two individuals, the more likely that woman was to rate that male as attractive.
Not bad, huh?
Not bad.
Not bad.
Nature knew what it was doing when it designed our sense
So,
of smell.
yeah, how'd you guys meet? Match.com? No, smelly T-shirt for a week. Put us together. So this campaign, I guess your little podcast series, because you've done a bunch of different things too, and a lot of the stuff that I've seen in your podcast, we have mirrored doing the same. And I think there's some great topics of health and wellness as well the benefits of not only cannabis, psychedelics for medicine as well, and that's coming up, and that's bringing the stigma down, because when we started this company, cannabis was the wall was up. I mean, the stigma was up, and I was thinking, I mean, we'd go to trade shows outside of the cannabis industry, which were had to do with cancer, had to do with pediatrics, had to do with geriatrics. And we did a lot with the pharmacy groups as well. And we would be in the corner with our booth. And the first couple of years, people would walk by saying, they would look, but they're really, I'm not looking at the booth. And then the following year, we were the most popular booth because that stigma has been brought down. And the same thing with other forms of medication. I'm a fan of, if something works, go with it, and bring in a whole arsenal to bring that body back to balance. And there's many ways to bring the body back to balance. Exercise, sleep, what you're putting into your body is really important. What T-shirt you're wearing, what scent you're smelling, and if you're in a great relationship, I guess. What are things that you're seeing out there, and you want to share what else you're doing on your podcast? And then I'd like to talk about the company that you guys have, Bake Brothers, which has products as well that's available for the market.
I think the way I'll start to answer that question is by Bake Bros, and then how Bake Bros fits into the podcast, because Bake Bros was started by two of my best friends, Thomas Rimbach and Nadim Al Hassan, and they were young guys, 18, 19 years old. They both come from really kind of tumultuous backgrounds, drug abuse, mental illness, things like that in their parents' lives. And when they connected, they really wanted to find a way to help people solve some of the problems that they had seen in their lives. And so they started this cannabis company. And along the way, they started to adopt more of these lifestyle practices. So to your point, getting really into sleep, getting really into exercise, and to diet. And so that is the kind of cultural framework that Bake Bros is built on, which is, we're about health and wellness for the mind, body, and spirit. And so some of the big things that we like to talk about, first and foremost, is probably mindfulness. That's probably the biggest one here at Bake Bros. Every Friday, we have Mindful Friday. So the entire organization takes 30 minutes to meditate together. Right now with COVID, we're doing that through Zoom calls. The next one is, exercise. So we just got done with Sober October for the month of October, and we did this hiking challenge. So everybody was going off and doing hikes and recording their miles. And awesome. The podcast is just a direct extension of that. It's really our way to take that culture piece and blast it out to anybody who would like to listen. So like you said, we've done episodes on, a lot of those topics. We've done episodes on sleep. We've done episodes on sex, pretty much anything that we feel is a valuable modality for people that can also be related to cannabis. Because a lot of the times, the way that some of these things are working, my favorite example of sleep is through the endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system is directly related to your circadian rhythm. So being able to understand that, conceptually that these things are related, you can start to move the dials in really strategic ways and get optimal health outcomes.
I love what you guys are doing. I'm an avid runner, cyclist, outdoors. And getting people involved. How would someone get involved? Does it sign up in a newsletter and you guys put it out there? And is it for everybody, even outside of the Arizona area, like myself here in California?
Yeah, so in terms of the podcast, it is open for everybody. If you go on our website, knowyourdosepodcast.com,
Yep.
you can sign up for the newsletter, and we'll send you updates. If you're more interested in what we're doing on the Bake Bros side, then we have bakebros.com. Again, you'll land on our page. We'll have a pop up for the newsletter as well as a text list, and that way, if you're in the Arizona area, you can get any of the updates that we have regarding our products. We also have a lot of podcast and blog information on that website as well. So those are really the two best places to find us outside of our social medias, which
Mhm.
is all just Bake Bros.
You're so the sober September. But how would you like your hikes that you're involved with? Is it, do you have to be with you on the hikes, or are you having people log their hikes? Like this morning, I got up and went for a 10-mile hike run up in the trail of the hills. And I was like, God, and I did a video for our followers, and
Mm-hmm.
people love that. And I was thinking, how can I get everybody involved? California is such a big state. We have so many followers outside of California. And you just mentioned something you guys do. Is it something just for people that are in the Phoenix area, or is it like, if I went on my run today, could I log it in and be part of your group?
Right. So this was something we did internally with our employees,
Gotcha.
and but as you're mentioning, I mean, this would be something great to open up to the public as well.
Yeah, you have a nice following, and I love that meditation. Probably about a month ago, I did
Mhm.
a 5-day silent retreat. Man, that was good.
Wow.
And I recommend. I mean, when I say silent retreat, no cell phones, no TV,
Right.
no music. I mean, I was sound asleep like a baby at 8:30 p.m. Woke
Hmm.
up at 5, and it was all online, so it was not at a retreat center. I have done one of the retreat center, but to start your day, I mean, this is from 6:30 in the morning to 5:30 at night, and then, but talk about just slowing your brain and even eating.
Right.
You're eating, and you're not sitting there eating with our laptop or our phone in our hand. We're just sitting. But it was a great thing, and it was a silent retreat. First half hour of silence, and then we did yoga for an hour. Had a little break for breakfast, and they did these little segments thing. So I applaud you and your team to do that, because it is. I think it's very beneficial. It really is beneficial, and you know what? I felt great afterwards, and I try to. I'm not as strict as I was, of course, in those days of doing that, but I think if you can get on that
Hmm.
routine like we do everything else, I think it will really help. Sounds like health and wellness is important in not only in your life but your organization's life as well. Is that the reason why you guys came up not only with the podcast but your product line as well?
It is. It is. So, in terms of Nadim and Thomas, like I was saying earlier, they had seen pharmaceuticals, alcohol, drugs of abuse just ruin the people's lives that they loved, as well as just poor lifestyle choices in general. And when I came onto the team, we had maybe 5 to 10 employees. And I got into it for the same reason. I had a loved one who, struggled with mental illness and ended up taking their life. And I just at that time thought there's got to be a better way than the traditional approach, and I think that's speaks to a lot of the people in this industry where they have seen a loved one go through something through the traditional model and thought there's got to be some other options I can incorporate, and that's really the way that we got into this space, and that's the way we formulate our products. I mean, everything's consistently dosed. It's measured down to the strain level, because we feel like strains are important because they do have those unique terpene profiles. Everything's third party lab tested to ensure that there's no, residuals, fungicides, pesticides, and that the dosing is accurate. And all of those are on our website. So any patient who purchases our products in Arizona can go onto our website and get that product testing right in their hand so that they can have confidence with the medicine. And really that's our biggest approach is taking the best that we can from the medical model and
Yeah.
incorporating the cannabis plant into it.
Beautiful. I mean, there's so many benefits to this plant that people don't even realize, especially with the terpenes one, but the 140 plus different cannabinoids, they all play a role. THC is one of them, CBD is another of them, are the most popular, but every day, more are being introduced and discovered. CBN, CBG, they all play this role. And so, that's why I wanted to get you on the show, because, I was liking, we don't sell a product, and I was liking what you guys were doing. Had some good feedback from a patient down your way, how I found you. For the patients that are, each state has different laws. California has laws now changes for recreational use, so people 21 over can come to California to obtain medicine. Fortunately, you can't bring it back home. So I'm not advising anybody to break the law. But what are the rules, or I guess laws, in Arizona? Because they seem to be changing. We just had an election. Can you share the laws in Arizona?
Absolutely. So right now we currently are a medical only state, but we did just pass Prop 207, which fully legalized cannabis. So as of December, we will have adult use legalized. What that'll look like is from December on, if you have possession of cannabis, you cannot be arrested. But the recreational dispensaries most likely will not go online until probably March. So starting in March, it will be similar to California, where anybody who is 21 or older will be able to go into a state licensed, facility and purchase cannabis. We will have, some restrictions. So I think it's about an ounce that you can carry on your persons at any one time. But other than that, many of the laws in Arizona are reflective of what's been passed in Colorado and California.
Perfect. Well, I thank you for that too. And so, any closing words for our audience, Derek?
Yeah, if anybody listening is looking for, another cannabis podcast that, has little micro doses of episodes and covers a wide variety of topics, check us out at Know Your Dose Podcast. And if you're in the Arizona area and you're looking for an edible, I highly recommend Bake Bros. And just appreciate you, John, for having me on and for giving Bake Bros and Know Your Dose an opportunity to connect with some more people.
I thank you for coming on too, and I'd like seeing I like seeing people succeed, and you guys have a really good show. And so, if you haven't already gone to their website, as Derek was saying, knowyourdosepodcast.com, I think you'll enjoy it. And like you said, the microdose portion of there. So you guys are pretty creative on a lot of things you say on your podcast. So I applaud you. But Derek, thank you so much for being on. And again, check out his podcast. Check out their website. I know you'll enjoy it. This is John Malanca with United Patients Group. Be informed and be well. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks again, Derek.
No problem.